You probably know the statistics. They say 1 in 3, 1 in 4 tree stand hunters will have an accident at some point during their hunting career. Those are some pretty staggering numbers that we don't want to see get any bigger. So we got some simple tips here that we're going to talk to you about that'll help keep you safe when you go hunting. If you're going to leave the ground, wear one of these. It's worth its weight in gold. This is a basic safety vest. It's considered a full body safety harness because it goes over your shoulders here, and then there are straps that go under your legs, connect you in, and then you've got your tether. So if I were to fall, I would hang by this. I would just sit down in this harness. This would keep me from falling like that. Any hunt from a climbing tree stand is going to start out with picking the right tree. It's straight. There's no limbs for a climbing tree stand that I don't have to worry about. I can climb straight up this tree. There's a lot of trees out there. You got to get to know the trees in the area where you're hunting. Some of them, like ironwood, they're really hard bark. And so the teeth that these tree stands employ to grip, they're going to have a tough time gripping in those trees. You might want to stay away from them just to avoid slipping. With a climbing tree stand, the goal is for this platform to be level when you get to your hunting height. Through experience, you're going to learn how close you have to pitch the bottom of this stand up towards the tree, at the bottom of the tree, in order for it to level out when you go up. You don't want it tipping forward. That would pitch you off the front of the stand to the ground, nor do you want it tilted too far back to the tree. A little bit of a tip isn't bad back towards the tree, because it's better for you to lean back into the tree than go out over the front. But if it tips too far back, then you're going to be able to disengage the teeth. If you step close on this platform back towards the tree and you're already tilted, you can have problems there. Obviously, the perfect scenario is to have that platform perfectly level. It helps you maintain your balance when you're hunting. You could be 20, 25 feet in the air. It's just easier for you to stand on a level surface than one that's tilted. If you have a two-piece climbing tree stand like this one here, this is the Summit Titan, you're going to want to do something to connect your top piece to your bottom piece. As I'm climbing up, if something were to happen and I was sitting on this part and the platform dropped out, with this tether, it's not going to drop farther than I can reach it. Just tie a simple knot. This is a big climbing tree stand. The platform is 21 inches wide by 30 inches long. There are certainly a lot of tree stands that are smaller than that. There's not many that are bigger. There's two things for you to consider: weight versus platform size. I'm a fan of big tree stands. I'm 6'1", I weigh 215 pounds. It helps with things like vertigo. If you're on a tiny platform and you're 20 feet in the air and you have an issue with heights, vertigo can be a real problem. You look down, you can lose your balance just by looking down. So here's our setup. I'm just going to climb in. I'm going to climb up a little bit. The basic principle, if you leave the ground, always be connected to the tree. So as soon as I get into this stand, I am going to connect myself to the tree at the ground, and you're going to see how I can climb up with my safety harness always attached to the tree. I'm getting my feet set in the stirrups, adjust my hand climber. Now I've got my safety tether. This is what wraps around the tree. I'm going to want to stretch this up high above my head, pull it tight. Now I can take my tree stand tether, hook it up. Now I'm connected to the tree. This is your basic stand up, sit down climber, meaning I sit down on the hand portion, stand up. Once I get up to where my tether is, just going to slide it up the tree. A lot of hunters sometimes think that takes too much time, makes too much noise. Well, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So when you get to your ending height to where you're going to set up your tree stand, I would set my seat up. This is a strap that holds my seat in place. So now on a stand like this, my seat can't fall down. The reason I'm setting the seat up is I want you to see where I want my tether to be connected to the tree above me. So when I'm sitting down, you can see my tether is almost tight in the seated position. There's not much give there. If I had my tether down here above the hand climbing portion, I would drop, well, whatever that distance is, 2.5, 3 feet, I would drop that before my tether would catch. That can be jarring. You don't want that. You just want to fall as little as possible. So again, as we were talking about, you can see my platform is pretty darn near level. So I feel comfortable up here. I'm not leaning one way or the other. I made sure to get it level. That's key for a tree stand like this. Now for me to start climbing down, I'm just going to lower my belt. Same process as climbing up, just in reverse. Now I'm climbing down. As I'm climbing down, you can see the tether that connects the two sections together. So you can see how that's helping keeping my tree stand connected. So it's never going to drop out of my reach should something happen. And just as you're climbing in a stand like this, just take your time. Always make sure you have your balance. Whether you're standing or you're sitting, you just want to maintain your balance. That's the worst thing that could happen is if you tip over the side because you lost your balance. That's what leads to a fall. That was pretty simple. That's the climbing tree stand. Next, we're going to talk to you about fixed position tree stands.